But in high school, I was a two-time Gatorade Player of the Year. I was also a Jordan brand my senior year, McDonald's All-American, Offensive Player of the Year, MVP, ranked sixth in the country, ranked second in my position. So high school was pretty good, pretty good for me. But I will say the transition from high school to college was a big shock for me. Hi, everyone, and welcome to More Access. I'm your host, Aaliyah Moore, and this is my new podcast where I'll take you behind the scenes of my life, the student and the athlete part, and I'll give you a peek into what it is being Aaliyah Moore. So I have a list of exciting guests that will be joining me in the upcoming episodes, but to start things off, I'm going to do a solo episode so that you can learn a little bit more about me. And this will also set the stage for future conversations, so let's go. So first, we'll start with a little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Aaliyah Moore. I'm currently a junior at the University of Texas, and I'm on the women's basketball team. I started playing basketball when I was about 8, I want to say, and from there it just took off. My mom also played basketball at Alabama A&M in college. Sports ran in my family. My grandma played softball and basketball. My aunt played softball. My cousins play a sport. My uncles, they both played football. So it was in my blood to play sports from a very young age. But I actually started playing soccer first. So I started playing soccer when I was about 5. And then I love soccer. I played that for, I want to say, about maybe 6 or 7 years. So that was my first sport. Then I got into basketball, and then I got into volleyball as well. And I played club volleyball for about 3 years, and also played varsity volleyball at my high school for my freshman and sophomore year. But a little bit more into what got me into basketball. Like I said, my mom, she played at Alabama A&M, so of course she had me, and the first sport that she put me in was basketball, and I loved it from the jump. I ended up getting more serious with basketball when I was about, I'll say like 12 or 13. I think that's how old I was in middle school, something like that, around that age. But that's when I actually got my first offer, which was to OSU, Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And it's actually a pretty funny story because, like I said, I got that offer in 8th grade, and that was my first one. And I honestly was playing basketball during that time just for fun. I didn't even know what an offer was. And so I remember my mom, it was like after EYBL tournament, her telling me in the car, like, guess what? I said, what? She said, you got your first offer. And I'm thinking in my head, offer to do what? Like, who's offering me to do something? Turns out it was it was a scholarship offer. Basically, they were going to pay for my school, which was really awesome. And so that kind of, from there, I got really serious about basketball. Definitely learned that I can be really good at the sport and get even more offers from even more colleges. So as I started getting more serious with basketball, the offers started rolling in. I think all in total, I got over 30 plus D1 offers from schools all around the country. And I ended up making my decision my junior year of high school to commit to the University of Texas. You know, being from Oklahoma, a lot of people, of course, ask me why I picked Texas. That's one of the rivals. But I tell people all the time, it just felt like a home away from home, and it was the perfect fit for me. I think academic-wise, the campus was beautiful, socially, the city, the town, everything. I loved everything about it. It was just perfect for me. I love winning, and so I wanted to go to a school where I knew that winning would be involved, and that I'd also be able to fulfill a lot of the goals that I had for myself. And that's a big part of the reason why I chose Texas, is because I'm able to do that every day. So I told you guys why I picked Texas, but I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on some of the things that I accomplished in high school that got me to the University of Texas, because it is a really great institution and it's really hard to get into academic-wise and basketball-wise. They don't just offer everyone. But in high school, I was a two-time Gatorade Player of the Year, which was pretty awesome. I was also a Jordan brand my senior year of high school. I was also a McDonald's All-American my senior year of high school, and I was ranked 6th in the country on the ESPN W. It was like Hoop Girls, basically the biggest rankings you can have. So I was ranked 6th in the country on that ranking, and then I was also, I think, ranked second in my position. I was pretty decent in high school. There's a lot more awards that I got: Offensive Player of the Year, MVP, and stuff like that. So high school was pretty good, pretty good for me. But I will say the transition from high school to college was a big shock for me. And because in high school, I was the big fish in a little pond. And then you're going to Texas, where it's like you already have people that are older than you. You're coming in as a freshman. The change of the game is way different. The pace of the game is so different. Girls are a lot bigger than you. You're having to put on muscle. You're having to sometimes lose weight. You're having to learn about nutrition. You're having to get faster. So the transition was insane for me. And I would like to say that my like rude awakening moment for me probably was my freshman year when it was maybe like one of my first practices with the team. One, I was out of shape, so the girls were already ahead of me. Like, you think you can get into D1 basketball shape until you actually go through it, and then you realize you're not in, as I like to say, Vic Schaefer shape. And so I think we were doing a drill, and I basically wasn't giving enough effort, you could say. In the older people's eyes, I was not giving enough effort. And when I say they got on my butt, like I've never never been chewed out by someone that was 3 years older than me, which doesn't seem like a lot of years, but in college ball it is. But yeah, they all got in my butt. And I think for me that was a moment where I was like, okay, I really have to lock in, do the small things, focus on my nutrition. I have to get quicker, I have to get faster, especially because a goal for me was not to start my freshman year, but was to, to play and produce some minutes. And so in order to do that on my team my freshman year, I had to make sure that I was in tip top shape. I knew all the plays, the 4 and the 5 position. I was a good communicator. I also was a leader, even though I was a freshman. I still had a big impact on the team. So I actually ended up starting my freshman year, which was pretty awesome. Most freshmen don't get the opportunity to do that. And so with that, I started, I don't even know how many games, but of course, knowing my luck, halfway through the season, I did end up getting hurt my freshman year, and I was out for about a month. I tore a ligament in my ankle, and so I did end up coming back from that and getting my starting position back. But I would say the transition from high school to college is what prepared me, you could say, in a way, to start and be able to produce for my team in the way that I was my freshman year. So next, I'll talk about some of my goals for this season and some of the goals that I have for my future self dealing with basketball. So like I said, I'm currently a junior this year. We are midway through the season, almost towards the end. We're more than halfway done with Big 12 play right now. So soon will be the Big 12 championship and then the NCAA tournament, which is the best time of the year. As y'all know, March Madness. But my goals for this season, I actually made 5 like goals, affirmations for the new year. So when 2024 started, I made a new list. And I want to say my first one on that list was to average a double double for this season, which I have not accomplished yet, but I finally did get my first double double last Sunday when we played K State, which was pretty awesome, especially coming back from my ACL injury that I had last year. So some of my other goals for the season, like I said, was average a double double, average 2 steals per game, average 10 rebounds, because honestly, a double double is cool. Of course, you have to have more than 10 points, more than 10 rebounds, but points will come, and I know that. But it's the rebounding that I wanted to hone on a lot this year. So those were some personal goals. I know as a team, we really want to win the Big 12 conference and championship this year, which we do have a good chance of doing. We've lost some tough ones so far, but we've also won 2 tough ones last week. So we're back into the running, which is really exciting. We also, of course, want to win a natty. That's the biggest accomplishment of all. And I hope that before I graduate, I have a chance of doing that. So right now, currently, I have 2 rings. I'm hoping to have an MJ moment to where I have a ring on each finger and hopefully stack them up one day. That's the plan. So also another reason why I wanted to start this podcast though is because I wanted to put an emphasis on the importance of physical and mental health of a student athlete. Like I said, last year I tore my ACL and I missed my whole sophomore season, which was a big shock for me. That was the biggest injury I've ever had. The surgery was different. I never had surgery before until then. I was out for a whole year. I missed a whole season. So that was the longest that I stepped away from basketball. Going through my ACL injury was probably the hardest thing I've ever been through. And I say that because for me, it's really hard to sit on the sidelines and just watch other people do what you've been training for and working so hard for your whole life. Although I was sitting on the sidelines last year, one of the biggest attributes that I brought to the team was that I could be a leader on and off the court. And I feel like although I did get hurt and it sucked and I wasn't able to go out there and produce for my team, I was able to help them in different ways off the court. And so I was able to grow my leadership skills. I was able to see things off the court that my teammates on the court couldn't see. And I also feel like now that I'm back playing, I've gained a different knowledge being off than I did when I was playing. You see a lot of, the small details that your coach harps about and things that you don't recognize actually out there playing. And so I try to look at, take the good with the bad. And even though it did suck having my injury and missing a whole year, even though I did get my year back, so I do have 2 more years of eligibility after this season, which is pretty awesome. Thank God for that, because I was right at the mark. I believe that everything happens for a reason. And, I took it and I was able to come back and I feel like I'm better for it. So that was a little bit about me on the court. Now, the best part is off the court. although I am an athlete, I am a student first. And like I said, one of the reasons I chose Texas was because of the academics. And I knew I wanted to go into communications. I've always wanted to be a broadcaster on ESPN, Fox, whatever it is. And so I was like, communications is perfect for me. And then, like I said, being an athlete my whole life and growing up being a part of teams, I just always had that leadership aspect. So I was like, communication leadership is the perfect major for me. And it turns out that Texas had one of the best in the country. And we have our own network, Longhorn Network. So I was like, okay, this is perfect. I'll be set up. So yeah, broadcasting is a dream of mine. Hopefully after college, hopefully I'm still playing in the WNBA or overseas. But broadcasting is definitely what I want to do after the ball stops bouncing. But outside of academics and, just being an athlete, there are some things that I do love to do. I love hanging out with my family. My family is my everything. I love hanging out with my friends. I'm a very homey person. I'm a very nice person. And so I love socializing, getting to know people. I also love spending money, which can be good and bad. I have a lot of clothes and a lot of shoes. You can ask my friends and family. My mom will tell you that I spend too much money, but agree to disagree. I'm also a big foodie. Being in Austin, there's so many food places, which I also can be good or bad because as an athlete, nutrition is very important. So I definitely have to watch my intake. But, sometimes it's nice to just splurge a little bit or try something new. I also really love ice cream, and Austin has a ton of gelato ice cream spots. And so, again, good with the bad, but most of the time I love it. So I'm also a big music girl. I love music. And it's funny because before games, people usually listen to upbeat, faster music. I'm more of an R&B, slow, chill girly. It gets me focused and ready for the game. I love listening to her, Janae Aiko, who else? Summer Walker, SZA, that type of vibe before a game. A little bit of Chris Brown. That's a pretty nice vibe for me. So before we wrap things up, I would love to tell you guys 5 interesting facts about me. So the first one is I have never had a pet in my life. Never had a pet, a dog, a bird, nothing, not even a goldfish. That's how I grew up. My mom, she never really had pets growing up, and my mom is very clean, and so she already had a kid that made messes. She didn't want another animal to make a mess, so never had a pet. I don't know in the future if I will. I'm becoming slowly more of a dog person, like small dogs, but other than that, I don't think it's ever going to happen. Second, growing up, I wanted to actually be a professional soccer player. I actually played goalie, like I said. Soccer was my first sport, and I played that for a pretty long time, was actually pretty good at it. I was a goalie, of course, because I was way taller than everyone. So I wanted to be the next Hope Solo. I loved her, read her book. I used to love watching Team USA, Megan Rapinoe, all of them. So, of course, I don't play soccer anymore, but I definitely thought when I was 7 that I was going to be the next Hope Solo. So number 3, a lot of my friends already know this, but my favorite singer is Rihanna. I literally know all her music. I know all the words to all of her music. So Riri, if you see this, I love you. I also use all your Fenty products, your Fenty Skin and your Fenty Beauty, all of it, your makeup. I love everything about it. So if you see this, would love to do an NIL deal with you guys. Number 4, my first tattoo was a butterfly. You can't see it, but it's actually on my arm right here. And it has a little bit of a cute little story to it. And I chose to get a butterfly because I got my first tattoo when I was 18. I went with my mom. But basically the story behind it is first the butterfly, is in its little cocoon, and then it fully grows into a beautiful butterfly and flies away from home or whatever, spreads its wings in a way. And for me, being 18, it was a big milestone for me, and I was going away to college that year. So it makes sense. And my last one is I won a talent show in 5th grade singing and dancing to the song Baby by Justin Bieber. It was probably my favorite song all throughout elementary. But yeah, I choreographed the whole thing the night before, showed my mom, and she loved it, and I was ready to go. I went up there, worked it, ended up winning in 5th grade. So it's pretty awesome. Well, guys, that is it for episode 1. Thank you so much for tuning in to More Access. I hope you had a great time listening. Please stay tuned. I'm so excited to share what's to come and give you a look inside my life as a D1 athlete. Please rate, review, and subscribe so that you don't miss what's to come. Bye.